Hello, how are you doing today? Welcome in. I'm going to give it a few seconds for people to jump on the live if they do. And while you're coming in, drop where you're watching from in the comments. And are you having a good day? Are you having a good week? How's the weather? While we wait, I want to talk about something real quick. A lot of people are using AI wrong. They're typing basic prompts and getting basic answers, and then saying AI doesn't work for them. It's like buying a gym membership and only using the park a lot. Now, what I do and what I teach at Promptify is prompt engineering. That sounds complicated, but it literally just means knowing how to talk to AI so it gives you something you can actually use. Today, I'm going to show you on a topic, and by the end of this, you'll be able to do this yourself. In about 5 minutes, everything I show you is inside Promptify. Excuse me, is free to start, and the link is in my bio. So, today, the sentence to kind of summarize what we'll speak on today is just give me a moment. Okay, so run a sales conversation that builds trust before the proposal. Um, some people could just say, is that a funnel? Does your marketing strategy build trust? Like, are you posting on social media? Do you post testimonies? Do you post free information? Do you give value? Do you post news about the subject at hand, along with examples of you doing it and examples of you explaining information about it? That's what, like, these are all things you can do to help build trust, right? But let's say that you could have that and you could have other ways as well. Somebody could not know about you and already call you or email you, or via call and email. They don't really know much about you besides you maybe stating what your general offer is, and they could be interested, but they just want to have some trust, right? Kind of extra segue to kind of over explain different ways, different meanings of this, right? Or from different angles to help paint the picture. So what I'll say real quick is about this. So this starts with a prospect message and ends with a sales process that records what you heard before it asks anyone to buy. Right? That could also be simplified into saying something like every single little step, every single little detail, every single little thing they say, you're addressing all that stuff. And customer service wise and relationally wise with this customer, what you're doing is you're showing them that you care about what they have to say. They're taking it into consideration, and you're even addressing it. Um, Maybe the offer is the fact that you're literally gonna offer them something, and they could have to pay for that. That's probably already an understanding already. So you don't have to just say bring that up again. You're any little concern, any little question, any little like you're addressing all this. They're speaking to a human that understands or and is trying to understand them better if possible. Before they and it's already that they're gonna be buying from you, but the fact that you're making this effort to help understand them and hear them out and address what it is they're saying. Oh yeah, that this for many different reasons, but just off that alone, what I just said, you're hearing them out and understanding them. It's gonna help them want to buy from you even more. They're buying somebody who they can trust. The person is can even hear what they're saying and responding to it, not just responding like a bot, saying like, "Oh yeah, so hurry up and buy." You're gonna buy? No. Oh, you just asked me a question about this. Let me answer this question. No, I'm not gonna just follow up and talk about. You're already gonna come by for me, but do you have any questions that I can answer to clarify this for you, so that you can really have a good understanding before we get to the next step? It's very helpful. Makes them feel very safe. To the point where they might just go push for the yeah. So actually, yeah, I'm just gonna buy it from you. I trust you. I hear what you're saying. Thank you for explaining it to me. Yes, this will bring value. I trust you. Let's get on with this. Like they might even push for it first, or they can go from indecisive to then just pushing for it because you've mentally brought them to a place that they understand how much value this is bringing for them. They understand that you're trustworthy, and then it in the other psychological factors that go in with that sales strategy, where you're actually trying to understand them and walk them through the funnel to where they actually just decide, yeah, I need to buy from you right now. That's how that psychological effect happens in their brain. Um, you bring them through this process, right? It helps. Now you can do this however you want, but this helps for sure. To the point where um, there's certain places that teach stuff like this, and they literally say that, by the way, if you know somebody doesn't qualify, don't actually, once you see that they don't qualify, you need to actually just end this scenario and don't try to continue onboarding them or whatever. And that's not going to work, because this works so well that that person who's not a good fit, they'll still actually be willing to buy, and you were actually supposed to take the responsibility of not letting it get to that point. So there's people who will accidentally wanting, say, yeah, I'm gonna buy from you, and you end up selling to them, and you weren't even supposed to do that because they weren't a good fit. There's companies that will fire you for that, because you yeah, you're so good at sales, you got the person to buy, but you can't just sell to everybody. You know what I'm saying? But that's just why we do that. It works. So, but walk them through the process, obviously, because it works so well that you need to make sure that we're all on the same page about everything. Is it even a good fit or not? Don't just jump to have them send the money over based on what it is, right? They're just buying food from the grocery store, and they can see what the options are. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They can just pay in return. But if this is something else where it's a process, and there's like a service being delivered, things might need to align a lot more. You can't just sell to anybody. Just because they have money doesn't mean you can just go take advantage of that. Literally, I don't mean to put it like that, but it's literally predatory if you don't use stuff the right way. Um, and it's not good if you have your own business. It's not going to be good for that. Um, Something that's not a good fit, you're not supposed to do business with that, because for unlimited reasons you could probably think of, it can mess up how things are going to go for your business and for them, and that's not good. So what I'm going to do real quick is explain, as you per usual, explain a sentence that describes a prompt. Um, there's 5 prompts. They all make up a system that do this exact thing that I'm talking about. And then I'm going to flip to the screen, read off each prompt, read off the result of each prompt, and explain how the system works with the prompts, right? So before I even get to saying anything about the first prompt, what I'll say real quick is, you do not need a louder pitch. You need a better record of the customer. Excuse me. You don't need a louder pitch. You need a better uh, record of the customer's actual process. So here's the thing, right? First prompt is make the unknowns visible. Second prompt, the idea is map the current state before proposing a future state. The third prompt is invite correction. Fourth prompt would be a proposal. There's a hypothesis with confirmed inputs, not a promise machine. And fifth prompt would be review lost deals with evidence and respect. And then it says it's customer privacy, CRM permissions, pricing, legal terms, solution fit, and final proposal language. All right, so this read. I thought that was a part I had to read just now for my outline, but this it's just stuff that it's going to be included in the prompts. So what I'll do real quick is I'm gonna, like I said, flip to the screen, show you the prompts, read off every prompt, read off every answer, and explain how it makes up the system. Ready? So the first prompt is create a discovery call agenda from this prospect message. Includes stated context, 5 open questions, relevant stakeholders to ask about, and unknowns. Do not assume budget. Excuse me. Do not assume budget. Do not assume urgency, and do not assume authority, and do not assume a solution. And then the prospect message, I gave it an example to work with. So now I'm going to show the result to that prompt. The discovery call agenda example. So the stated context was the prospect is evaluating how their current process works and where they are encountering friction. They want to better understand the people, process, and tools involved. There's no budget. There's no budget. There's no urgency. There's no decision authority, and there's no preferred solution that has been stated. The open questions are um, how does the current workflow operate from the start to finish? Where in the process do you experience most friction today? Who is involved at each stage? And who else would we understand the perspective of? What tools or systems are currently used and how do they fit into the workflow? And for the question is, for the open question is, what would you want to understand or accomplish before deciding any next steps? The relevant stakeholders to ask about is primary process owner, day-to-day users and operators, team manager or functional leader, relevant IT system stakeholder, and other teams affected by the workflow. The unknowns are current process details and exceptions, scope and frequency of the workflow, the specific sources of friction, the stakeholder roles and decision process, existing systems and integrations, desired outcomes or evaluation criteria, the budget, the urgency slash timeline, the decision authority, and whether the prospect is considering a particular type of solution. Now, what did this answer do? This answer created a discovery call agenda from this prospect message. It included the stated context. It included 5 open questions. It included the relevant stakeholders, and it included it included it included the relevant stakeholders to ask about, and then it included the unknowns. It did not assume budget. It did not assume urgency. It did not assume authority or a solution. And as you can see, I read off for each section. I read off exactly um, what would belong in those sections based on the example I gave it. So the next prompt is draft a concise post discovery follow up email. Summarize stated needs, agreed next steps, named owners, and open questions. Invite correction. Do not pitch features. Do not pitch pricing. And do not pitch outcomes that are not discussed. And we got an example from, I used an example to create call notes that we use for this. So the answer is, so I made, made all this up. So hi, Acme Health Team. Thanks for the conversation today. My understanding is that the team is currently managing billing across the practice management system, payer portals, clearinghouse, and a shared spreadsheet with some friction around moving between screens, manual portal manual portal checks, and keeping track of rejected or denied claims. The agreed next steps are Acme Health. Excuse me. It's so the agreed next steps are Acme Health will confirm which practice management system and clearing house are currently in use. The billing team will clarify how rejected and denied claims are currently tracked and escalated, and we'll use those details to continue the discussion with the relevant billing stakeholders. Now, open questions are how often are claims rejected or denied? What specifically tends to get missed? Who owns updates to the shared spreadsheets? And how are urgent items prioritized? And what happens after an issue is escalated to the billing manager? Please correct anything I've misstated or missed. And then that's an example email. I didn't put a name for that. So for this is draft. What did that answer do? We drafted a concise post discovery follow up email. We summarized the stated needs. We um, the agreed next steps, name and the named owners, and the open questions. And we invited correction. And we did not pitch features, pricing, or outcomes not discussed. So as you can see, that's what happened in this email. You can see the sections. There's a introduction, the agreed next steps, the open questions, And as you can see, all these things were addressed. As when I read each of those sections, it had let me check real quick. It had stated owners like talking, for example, how the billing team will clarify how rejected and denied claims are currently tracked, and how um, Acme Health will confirm which practice. Those are owners of things. So Acme Health is going to be responsible for confirming which practice management system and clearinghouse are currently in use. The billing team is going to clarify how rejected and denied claims are currently being tracked and use those, and how you or the team will use those details to continue discussion with the relevant billing stakeholders. Um, and then there's open question section to help fill in any blanks about anything that's needed to be known by both parties, right? Or needed to be known and understood, that they have the same, that both parties understand the same answer to that question, so that there's no confusion, right? Um, Next prompt is create a proposal outline from this approved discovery summary. Separate confirmed needs, desired outcomes stated by the prospect, work to validate assumptions to test, and open questions. Do not add pricing, guarantees, legal terms, or unconfirmed scope. Um, and this discovery summary, I gave an example to work with. So this is proposed outline example. The first is confirm needs, document the prospect's current workflow from intake through follow-up and escalation, account for the billing coordinator, claim specialist, billing manager, and practice staff involved in the process. Reflect the current use of the practice management system, payer portals, clearinghouse, shared spreadsheet, email, and weekly billing meeting, and address the stated friction around moving between screens, manual portals, checks, missed items, and tracking rejected or denied claims. Um, through the desired outcomes stated by the project are clear understanding of how the current workflow operates, better visibility into unresolved billing items, greater clarity around how rejected and denied claims are handled, and a shared understanding among the relevant billing stakeholders of the current process and areas requiring further discussion. Three is work to validate, confirm the specific practice management system and in clearinghouse, map the actual workflow, including um, exceptions and escalation paths, understand the frequency and volume of rejected and denied claims, determine how unresolved items are currently tracked and prioritized, confirm ownership of the shared spreadsheet and related follow up activities. Four is assumptions to test. The billing team's workflow is substantially consistent across users. The shared spreadsheet is a meaningful part of the current tracking process. Manual payer portal checks contribute to the stated workflow friction. Missed items are connected to the current process or tracking practices. The billing manager is the appropriate escalation point for more complex issues. Five is open questions. So the open questions will be, after all that, what specifically causes items to get missed? How frequently are claims rejected or denied? How much time is spent checking the payer portals? Who opens each stage of the workflow? How urgent how are urgent issues identified and prioritized? What happens after escalation to the billing manager, and are other stakeholders or systems that have not been are there other stakeholders or systems that have not been yet identified? Now, what did this prompt do? What we did here was, in this answer, it created a proposal outline from this approved discovery summary. So I gave an example, and from that summary, it gave all the information. So it's basically just showcasing you how it sorted all the information into the categories. So it separated the confirmed needs, it separated the desired outcomes, it separated it separated the confirmed needs, it separated the desired outcome stated by the prospect, and it separated the work to validate, it separated the assumptions to test, and it separated the open questions. Um, and it did not add pricing, guarantees, legal terms, or unconfirmed scope. Um, and that's exactly what I read over in all of this here. So now the next final prompt for this is create a neutral deal review record from the CRM notes. Return known reasons, unknowns, evidence, and one next learning action that respects the prospect. Do not infer hidden objections or claim causation. And then we pasted it from the CRM notes. Now, the deal review record, there's known reasons the prospect is evaluating its current billing workflow. The team experiences stated friction from jumping between a lot of different screens. Manual payer portal checks are part of the current workflow. The team uses a shared spreadsheet to track unresolved items. Rejected and denied claims require review and follow up. More complicated issues are escalated to the billing manager. The unknowns are the prospect's specific evaluation criteria, whether the stated workflow friction is materially affecting business results, the frequency or volume of rejected and denied claims, the prospect's priorities for any potential next step, who has the final decision authority, budget, timing, and purchasing process, whether all relevant stakeholders have been included, and the evidence is call notes are state the call notes state we're jumping between a lot of different screens. The call notes state it's easy for something to get missed. The team manuals the team manually checks payer portals. Unresolved items are tracked in a shared spreadsheet, and complex issues are escalated to the billing manager. The next learning action is ask the prospect whether they would be willing to walk through one recent rejected or denied claim from start to finish, focusing on what happened, who handled each step, and where the process required additional follow up. Now, what we do here with this prompt, or excuse me, this answer, what this answer did was based on the prompt, it created a neutral deal review record from these CRM notes, and it brought up the known reasons, the unknowns, the evidence, and the one next learning action that respects the prospect. It did not infer hidden objections or claim any causations. So as you can see, each of these sections, the known reasons, the unknowns, the evidence, and the next learning action, I read off all of that. This all of those sections, right? Now, what did this do? Um, what these prompts did was, let me just read the title that I gave this section, so I can just read that back again to bring it full circle, explaining what this system just did. This system was running a sales conversion that builds trust before the proposal. Now, building trust before proposals. Um, I forgot what I stated so far in this video because I did segue a bit in the beginning of this video. I also segued in one of the short forms with the main idea. Just don't want to repeat certain things or rants word for word or even the same exact idea, but maybe with a small change words. But I already said the example. So the main point I want to say about that is, I think I did say in this long form so far. When you're trying to understand the customer, that helps. You're taking it step by step, not telling you that you have to move as slow as molasses. But really, it's not even about the pacing. It's about do they understand everything they need to understand before there's they follow through and pull out their credit card and pay for something, right? Do they understand what they need to understand? Do you actually understand the things that you need to understand about them, by the way, as well? Because what happens is you need to understand certain things about them as well. If this is like especially service based, right? Um, you what happens is if somebody needs cookie cutter results, you need to understand how to bring that. You can't just give them the general results or the standard or things that could apply to other people might not apply to them, but they need the same idea of results, but they need specifics that apply to them. You actually need to figure that stuff out. That's part of what this funnel or the onboarding process or whatever you want to call it, where you're addressing questions and there's negotiation and there's discussion about every single little thing that has to be discussed. There's no such thing as it's too much discussion. No, if that goes unanswered and that comes up later, now it's the issue. So talk about it now. So by the time this is over, you got paid. They got the results that they knew that they were going to get, or they agreed to knowing what type of results that they were going to get. You gave it, and then it's thank you. You both shake hands or whatever. Thank you so much for working with us, and maybe they want to hop on and work on with you again and pay you again, or they will consider you in the future, or they'll go tell all their friends or people who could be value from your product or service. They'll go tell them what a good job you did, and now you have more customers. Maybe you ask them, "Oh, by the way, would you be able to recommend me to anybody else?" And even if you want to even offer, if any of the people sign on with you that they recommend, you'll give them a percentage of the money that you were paid or whatever. So you have to do the math on that, obviously. But it's just, or they'll might just go and recommend, or they might just tell you, "You did such a good job. I'm gonna recommend you to my friends because you literally, or my comrades or the people who I know in the space who need this type of result. I'm gonna recommend you to them because I trust you and you did a good job and I see you the real deal." And maybe that's rare to find. Maybe that's rare to find for the price, or maybe we have people. I know people who do that, but they're not in business right now, and you are, and we need results right now. So thank you. I'm gonna recommend. You know what I'm saying? Or it's shake hands, thank you, and anybody asks them about anything, they have only good things to say. Or you can ask them for a testimonial, they'll be happy to give it because you just helped them out a ton, right? They probably wouldn't mind writing out a review or giving a testimonial when they have some free time. So, but this walkthrough before all that helps make it so that on the back end, when everything's done, it's thank you so much, and it's just people and appreciation and thankfulness, and you just move on, and everybody you get paid. People who were supposed to get paid. People who are supposed to get value get the value, and it's a clean move on from this, right? um there's no and the whole process was smooth because it was already addressed, so now the whole thing's smooth as well and easy going. It's smooth. The system is working smoothly and easily the way it should, right? So that's the reason for having a system or process like this. You can obviously just be experienced enough to understand these things literally in your mind. So maybe there's a script you understand on that, and then that's probably already in your head. Like when I speak on some of these things, when I give free business consulting, I'm not reading anything. I'm literally telling you this from memory because I literally had to do it for gazillions of reps over many, many years. And there's a times that I didn't know it, and then there's times that I knew it, or I was just learning it and starting to implement it, then implemented it many times, and now I'm just telling you, right? And you could just understand this, or you could understand an idea of it, and you just need to hear it a different way, and then you just implement that. But if you don't know it, here's a system that helps you that does it for you pretty much, right? So, what I'll say real quick, as per usual, Promptify is free to start. The link is in the bio. If you like access to high quality prompts like this and more, you can find them inside Promptify. Again, it's free to start. Link is in the bio. If there's anything I said today that was helpful for you, that's amazing, and I hope you have a great day.